Hi, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today. All right. For those of you, I'm not sniffling, but man, am I still coughing. So this may not be the longest live known to man because it seems like every minute or two I have to cough. This is a leftover from last time, like last time. So first of all, let me just tell you, when my husband and I were on our way to um, Mexico, I'm sitting in the airport and I went to read something and I reached into the bag for my readers and I pulled them out. I have 50 readers here in the house, but I pulled them out and they were broken. I was like, really? Really? I have to go buy readers. So I go to the store and everything at the airport is so expensive, but I picked these up for $30. Oh my God. And they're like the same cheap plastic ones that I get off, 10 at a time from Amazon. But what do you guys think? They were the ones that I thought were cute. Not for $30, but I needed readers on the trip. So this is what I got. All right. We have a lot to cover. Well, actually, there is just one main thing that I want to cover. And essentially, the Daily Fail is insinuating, sorry, the Daily Fail is insinuating now that King Charles knew all about Andrew and didn't take action. So what they're saying is that 15 years ago, remember, this is like in 2004. So actually 20 years ago, when he was the Prince of Wales doing his own thing, that somehow Charles knew all about what Andrew was doing and the leaking and all of that. There's no way in hell he could have known. There's no way. So we're going to look at an article that came out not long ago saying that, again, from the Daily Fail, that Charles needs to admit what he knew about Andrew and what he found out. Now, what they're saying is that King Charles was warned in 2019 that the royal family name was being abused by Andrew's business associations. That doesn't mean that Charles knew what Andrew was doing. I mean, are you kidding me? So, of course, they're saying, oh, it's so damaging because if it's revealed that King Charles knew about this and he needs to come clean on what he knows, because if he's covering this up, his position will be difficult. Now, let's be honest. The king has already said that the law must have its way, that he is going to cooperate fully. He's given them carte blanche. But because Charles got an email back in 2019, wait a minute, Carol wrote something. Rebecca English confirmed no one knew what Andrew was. Exactly. There's no way. What they're saying is because Charles got an email back in 2019 when his mother was the queen, I might add, that somehow he knew everything that Andrew was doing. I think this is absolutely horrible. This is what the royalists are doing. So I want to say something to the royalists that are out there. I hope you realize what you're doing. You want to bring down the monarchy? What do you think is going to happen if you do? What do you think is going to happen? Besides, which, by the way, let me just throw out, Harry and Meghan haven't said a word, not a peep, because they realize if the monarchy goes, so do their titles. Everything is gone. No more Duke and Duchess, no more Prince, nothing. It's all gone. Not to mention the devastation to the UK, because it is the royal family that brings in, I think it was like 1 point something billion a year in revenue from people that want to come visit the UK. I myself wanted to see the UK because of the royal family. Otherwise, what's the point of visiting England with all of England's great things going on now, taking over? You know what? I'm not even going to go there. The crime rates that's gone through the roof, everything going on. It's out of control. And the only draw the UK has is the royal family. All the souvenir shops are going to close. All the tourist stuff is going to close. Nobody's going to be interested. And I don't think the people that want to shut the monarchy down are thinking long term about the damage to the UK economy if they get rid of the monarchy. And let me just say, the monarchy has been standing for thousands of years, and I don't think what Andrew is doing is going to bring it down, or what Harry is doing is going to bring it down. So I just I don't see it. Now, going back to the article, they're saying the future of the royal family has been thrown into doubt as revelations about how much Charles may have known is rising to the surface. And we're lucky that this was initiated by the police because no one's above the law, blah, blah, blah. But what they're saying is, and I'm reading this again, this is an email. A whistleblower told the palace that Andrew had secret financial links to controversial millionaire financier David Rowland, who was abusing the royal links. Okay. What does that prove? How do you expect Charles, who's not in control, his mother was in control, what do you expect Charles to do about that? What am I missing? I mean, I just don't understand, which is why I continue to call them the Daily Fail. You know, Charles, I think, in my opinion, is doing an excellent job. He's continuing on. He's bringing attention to all the right charities. He's doing everything that's correct. And as I told you, I might just add, as I told you in my video just the other day, it was shown online in an article that Charles didn't even want Andrew to be the trade envoy, and he was overruled. That doesn't mean that he knew back in 2011 that Andrew had links to Jeffrey Epstein. What that means is that Charles might have had an inkling that his brother was out of control. Maybe he knew that the Queen was turning a blind eye. Maybe he knew maybe she thought, you know what, this will get him out of town. He's trouble, whatever. Whatever the Queen thought, the Queen should have dealt with Andrew. She didn't. Okay, yeah, she pulled some of his titles and she did whatever right before the Platinum Jubilee. And I believe that all happened because she didn't want the Platinum Jubilee to be overshadowed. And that's exactly what was happening. But so for the media, I mean, the Daily Fail is turning into MSN. That's a little scary. They're jumping on the anti-royalist bandwagon. And this is going to be bad. You know who this is going to be bad for? It's going to be bad for Harry and Meghan, which is why, in my opinion, they're not speaking. They haven't said a word. And the reason they haven't said a word is because I think the king is going to pull the Band-Aid off. Listen, we all know that William is running things behind the scenes. William is meeting with Charles. It was William that met with Charles and the Queen and said, before the Queen died, and said, if Andrew is going to the garter ceremony, I'm not going because I won't be seen with him. That's exactly what's going on. So, excuse me one second. Oh my God. So it seems to me that behind the scenes, William is advising his father what to do, how to do it, what should be done. And so I think William is going to say to Charles, there needs to be a line between working and non-working royals. This is what I think is going to happen. You don't want to miss my video tomorrow because we talk about this tomorrow. One of the 50 things we're talking about tomorrow. What I think is William is saying there has to be a line between working and non-working. If you are non-working, you don't keep prince and princess. You don't need your HRH. You don't get security. Even the royal family members, when they're not working, don't get the level of security that Harry is asking for. Harry, who's made millions, can pay for his own security. Harry, who goes to countries that are 10 times more dangerous than Britain and is perfectly fine with the security. that he's getting. Remember what he said in that BBC interview, that his father had signaled to every other country not to protect them, which basically means, Harry, Meghan, if you want to travel, pay for your own security. You've made $60 million. Pay for your own security. That's what everybody else does. Pay for your own. Now, we have not heard about the redone security analysis. I don't know why we haven't heard about that lately. But I have a feeling, I do have a feeling that Harry's not going to get it. I have a feeling that when they're doing all this stuff with Andrew, when they finally do all this, Andrew, they're going to say, remember what William said? He's going to change the rules. Things are not going to happen. Here's my thought process. Harry and Meghan's children don't need prince and princess titles, and they don't need their HRHs because they're never going to be working royals. Now, while Harry is saying he's hoping now that their children could meet the Wales children, and he's hoping that they can become friends and cousins, he's hoping that because he realizes that those are the kids that are going to be making the decisions. But Harry has to understand that the royal family is never going to let those kids work for them, ever, 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 ever. Because if you let those kids in, you let Harry and Meghan in. Those kids will never be working royals, and they don't need these children running around the world going, I'm prince and princess. I'm part of the UK royal family, even though they haven't met any of these people and they've never done a lick of work for the royal family. So I firmly believe that when this whole thing is over, Harry, and now, of course, with the attacks on Beatrice and Eugenie, how they grew up pampered, private schools, luxury trips. And what have they really accomplished in their lives? Like, seriously, what have they accomplished? I believe that Beatrice and Eugenie and Harry and Meghan's two children will have their prince and princess titles removed and their HRHs removed. You don't need them. They're unnecessary. They're not working royals. Simple. They're not working royals. And they shouldn't be on the website. And also, Meghan's HRH, which was put into abeyance with the understanding that she wouldn't use it. And now, of course, we've learned she has used it. So that needs to go also. The people that are screaming about the removal of the prince and princess title, understand something. Anne is the daughter of the queen. So she gets to keep her princess title, but her children don't have titles. Neither Peter Phillips nor Zara have titles. Edward can keep his prince title. He's a child of the queen. His two children do not have prince and princess titles. Get it? Andrew's two children. Andrew lost his title, but his children also don't work for the monarchy. They don't need their prince and princess titles. They can go. Charles obviously is king. William is the Prince of Wales, and his children are in the direct line of succession. So his children get to keep the titles. Harry can keep his prince title, but the HRH and the prince and princess titles need to be removed from Meghan and the children. Just, there's a line. You're either a working royal or you're not. If you're a working royal, you're on the website. If you're not a working royal, you're not on the website. If you've walked away from your country and you slam the family and you slam everybody, no, you should be removed from the line of succession because nobody would want you anyway, or your kids who know nothing about the UK, nothing about the royal traditions, nothing. They know nothing. Nothing. Why do they need to be in the line of succession? Absolutely nothing. You know, Beatrice now, it's coming out also knowing that Epstein was in prison for sex abuse crimes. It's coming out that Beatrice was emailing, that Beatrice knew what was going on. She was meeting with associates of Epstein. She was 27 at the time. It's not like she didn't know what was happening. And as far as Eugenie goes, I don't know if she's caught up in all that, but I never liked her anyway. I don't know. There's something about her. I don't like her anyway. So yes, Juliad, the York and Sussex's finances need investigation. Yes, I covered this in my video the other day, 17 holidays in a year. Now, some of them were bankrolled by billionaire friends of Andrew and Sarah, she stayed on their yachts. Some of them, 4 of them, I think, were to Andrew's ski chalet in Switzerland or wherever the hell it was. They had their vacations. They went around and did their things for sure. But yeah, no. And she went from Sony, working at Sony, and by the way, she was never in the building, to suddenly having a 6-figure salary at an investment firm in New York. How do you think she got that job? When you're raised with privilege and trust funds and private schools and the best of everything, I don't think you appreciate the struggle. Let me just tell you. I myself, just so you know, because I went through school after my accident, and I didn't work, I went through school on a Pell Grant, which means I was the poorest of the poor, and they paid for my schooling. And what little bit was left over after it paid my tuition went to pay for my rent, so I would have somewhere to live. And of course, my parents helped out a little bit, which I thought was rather nice because I was already 25, 26 years old. I told them I want to do a complete change and I want to become a nurse. And they were like, if that's what you want. But obviously I couldn't expect them to bankroll me at that age. So I went through on a Pell Grant knowing that if I failed a class, if I had to repeat, if anything went wrong, I would lose my money. And that would be the end of my education. Obviously, Beatrice and Eugenie didn't have those struggles, did they? I mean, I don't know what to say. Now, another article came out. Let me pull it up for you guys. Another article came out, which I found to be kind of a shocker. And the thing that really gets me about this article is that it was behind, and I'm just going to tell you guys, it was behind a paywall. So if you're not, listen, I refuse to pay for news. And again, I think the Daily Fail is having some financial problems, and that's why they're putting a lot of their stuff behind paywall. So, and they're trying to make their money. Now, and one other thing I have to tell you. I'm assuming you guys are watching about Punch, the monkey. Do you see what I wrote on Twitter? I'm going to go F up some monkeys if they don't leave that poor little baby alone. He got bullied again. That poor little monkey. He's breaking my heart. All right. So let me tell you what this article says. They're pointing out that Sarah is now in the same financial and housing crisis that a lot of women have, that live on council estates. The only difference is she has better connections, right? Because she went to visit her friends in the French Alps, and then she moved on to the United Arab Emirates. And apparently she's been spending time with Eugenie. But what they're pointing out, that my point is that the daughters, they're saying that the daughters have been taught that no matter what happens, everyone should be super nice and supportive to Beatrice and Eugenie in this time, because the parents' sins are not the sins of the children. Does that make sense what I'm saying? You don't blame just like you don't attack Charles for what Andrew's doing. However, with that being said, they're saying the girls have absolutely maximized their royal position to their own advantage. They have lived very big lives of pampered luxury without asking questions about where the money was coming from. And as I just said, neither daughter has really achieved much in the way of personal accomplishments. Okay, they wore those stupid hats to William and Catherine's wedding, but the most frequent praise, as I just said a minute ago, that you hear about the daughters is that they're well-mannered. But if you have 2 daughters that were raised in the royal family and given private education and afforded the best of everything, then yeah, you would expect them to have good manners. But the tide of sleaze is rolling over them. So what we are aware of now, and as I discussed in my previous video that you guys saw was that basically Fergie has been bankrolled by Jeffrey Epstein for about 15 years. Absolutely shocking. There was extra cash coming in from Andrew's, dealings as a trade envoy. And now they're asking who funded Sarah and Eugenie's vacations. And again, we just discussed this, and it was in my previous video. Beatrice in her 20s went on 17 holidays in 1 year. That's more than one a month. She was skiing. She was in the Saint-Tropez. She went to Ibiza. She was on yachts with her famous friends. And this was taking place while she was at Sony, earning 19,500 pounds a year. But people that were at Sony said she was never there, ever. Can you imagine how many people would have killed for a job like that? I just can't even imagine. One moment. Sorry, guys. And in between going around the world with her different boyfriends, she had a lot of these niche rich girl jobs. She was a research associate for her mother's charity, Children in Crisis. She interned for an investment firm in London for 16 months and then moved on to New York to join Sandbridge Capital. She left her full-time entrepreneurial ambitions and then launched her own company as a business consultant. How many people do you think would want to talk to her as a business consultant? Advice from a 30-something self-made woman whose chief qualification was princess. Am I missing something? Like, who would want to talk to her? I mean, what was said was that what Beatrice knew about business could probably be written on the back of a stamp. I mean, her sister, on the other hand, is working in an art gallery. She's the director of an art gallery and doing whatever it is art gallery directors do. In between, she launched the Anti-Slavery Collective. For those who don't know, it's a UK-based charity dedicated to raising awareness of and working to end modern slavery. I mean, you just couldn't make it up. Here she is campaigning to free tormented young women from being used and abused by powerful rich men, while her father was allegedly entertaining an ever-changing carousel of them at Buckingham Palace and other royal residences. So Beatrice and Eugenie are not the ones who have sinned, okay? But all of this, every bit of their gilded lives has been leveraged by the fact that their biggest asset was the fact that they're princesses. And as they were co-opted more than once to show Epstein's guests around the royal residences, it would appear that they knew about their reputation. Remember, we found out that Beatrice had emailed Epstein. Beatrice was very aware of what the heck was going on. So they're saying, just spare your tears for the York women. So, and in the meantime, they're saying that the events of Andrew being arrested have probably shaken Fergie to the core, because they are saying that she has the ultimate cash generating weapon at her disposal. Can you guess what it is? You guys ready? A tell-all memoir. She needs money. And you know how Harry was going to go around and do speaking engagements for $1 million each, and now he's barely getting 50,000, if even, because their brand is so toxic that nobody wants Harry and Meghan. She apparently, and we'll discuss this more in depth tomorrow in my video, but she apparently is requesting, it's saying between $150,000 and $200,000 a speaking engagement. Who the hell would want to talk to Fergie? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. But they're saying it is not beyond the bounds of possibility that she could accuse Andrew of sex crimes and claim that King Charles and Queen Elizabeth were aware of his behavior. So, Harry now is trying to win back the UK public's affection and restore his reputation. But Sarah has no reputation left to restore. And damaged people are dangerous. So you have to wonder what's going to happen next. Da, da, da. What do you think? Now, one of the other things that we're going to be discussing tomorrow, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry. Sorry. One of the things that we'll be discussing tomorrow is the WellChild Awards. One of the few patronages left that Harry has in the UK. You don't hear from Harry about the WellChild Awards all year. All year, you hear nothing. Then suddenly he puts out a video. The WellChild Awards. You need to nominate that fabulous sibling. You need to do this. You need to do that. And they're flashing pictures across the screen. Now, tomorrow I play for you. I know it's like nails going down a chalkboard. But I play for you his video from WellChild. And only one time. And let me just say, all the pictures on WellChild, all the pictures are from when Harry first became the patron, all the way up. And he's in every stinking picture. Every single one. Because this really isn't about WellChild. This is performative for Harry to give him that good PR boost. Look at me. Look how fabulous I am. I've kept this patronage, blah, blah, blah. And there's only one picture of Meghan in the whole montage. One. Other than that, there's nothing about her. So he goes on this rant about WellChild, how wonderful WellChild is and how you need to nominate somebody. And they show all these pictures of Harry at WellChild. And for those of you who don't know, WellChild has removed themselves from Twitter or X, because people are pointing out that they have a drug addict as a patron. And so they put out a statement and said, we're removing ourselves from X. If you want to go to us, go to Instagram. Yes, Carol. I always say that, don't I? I always say that. Marry in haste, repent in leisure. Exactly. Always. So we'll be covering that tomorrow as well. Now, does anybody, we're going to stop here for a second. Does anybody here have any questions as to what we've covered so far? I know usually I get a lot of questions. Sorry. Are there any questions? It's going to take a second for them to pop up in my feed. Throat. By the way, as an FYI, my husband is now up. Well, he got out of bed and took a shower today. And now my son is flat on his back. So, yeah. We're the plague house here. I'm looking to see. All right. Well, no questions. Nope, no questions. So we're going to continue on. And the next thing we're going to be discussing is William. William apparently has known all along that something is going on. William's known that something was going on. And it's William behind the scenes. Sorry, guys. It's William behind the scenes who has been pushing all this time for Andrew to be exiled and pushed out and go away. And, they're calling him the enforcer. He's fiery, difficult, and unforgiven. And they're saying that Andrew left him boiling with rage. And now, again, I understand people are saying that the king should abdicate and leave it to William, that William's going to save the monarchy. Well, I got news for you. William's going to save the monarchy anyway. I'm just telling you. Oh, by the way, organizations where Princess Beatrice is the patron are now scrambling to issue statements after Andrew was arrested. So I'm waiting for those to come out. I'll be talking about those. And also, Harry's court case is continuing on at pace. And I am keeping an eye on that. I talked about that the other day, you guys. The fact that Harry's case, it's continuing on at pace, and they're questioning people. And of course, they're accusing people of hacking phones, and people are on there going, nope, didn't do it, didn't happen, didn't do it. Nope, nope, nope. I got to be honest, I think Harry's going to lose his case. That's just my opinion. And yeah. Now, people are saying that the Queen was blind when it came to Andrew. Yes, we all have COVID. We're all in the house together. That the Queen was blind when it came to Andrew because Andrew was her favorite. And she wasn't totally blind, guys, because after all, she did strip him of just about everything. And he basically faded away from royal life. So I don't know that the Queen would have known the extent of it, though, in my opinion. I love the Queen. I love what she did, but I just don't think she knew the full extent of what was happening with Andrew. That's just my personal opinion. So I love the fact that Anne is continuing on. She had multiple events that she went to the same day that Andrew was arrested and the day after Andrew was arrested. She's continuing on with her work as she should, the keep calm and carry on mantra. William, correct, Carol. He has a moral compass that points true north. He knows what has to be done. And yeah, that is correct. The Yorks made it a family business. I truly believe that the best thing the monarchy can do at this point is decide that with everything going on, and let me just say one other thing before I give you this statement. People are saying that the king has been soft on Andrew, soft on Harry, soft on Meghan. The reason the king was soft, I'm not going to say soft, the reason the king didn't take action against Harry and Meghan, he did the old adage of give them enough rope and they've hung themselves. And that's literally what they've done. They are hated on this side of the pond. Everybody knows now. She can deny it till she's blue in the face. Everybody knows that she's a bully. You don't lose 25 staff members just in the last 5 years, just since she's come to the United States. You don't lose 25 staff members for no reason. Everybody knows she's a bully. Everybody knows she's difficult. Everybody knows that she never had any intention of staying within the royal family. Harry's the only one that's completely blind to what's going on. He'll wake up eventually. Unfortunately, by the time he wakes up, it'll be too late. In my opinion, it'll be too late. But the reason the king didn't take action against them before is, number one, he gave them enough rope to hang themselves, which they did. And number two, if he had taken action, it would have restarted the whole thing again of, look what they're doing to us. They're attacking us because we told the truth, because we had the strength to sit and tell Oprah and write that book. And we had the gumption to tell the truth. We're being punished again. That's what would have happened. I think this is played out absolutely perfectly. When Harry and Meghan didn't get what they wanted, when Harry and Meghan got cut off, they tried to spin the racial thing again. You guys remember that? Years later, after it wore off, they tried to bring it back up again. And it didn't fly. It didn't fly at all. People got the measure of them by then. There were even Sussex Squad members who turned on them and said, no. Now, so the point is, the king was not soft on them. The king didn't take action because he knew what would happen if he did. There'd be a lot of backlash. So what's going on now is this has worked out perfectly, because now the monarchy can say, we are making a distinction. You either work for us or you don't. If you don't work for us, there will be no titles, no HRH, no security. You're off the website. And I don't know about the line of succession thing. They may not be able to do anything about that. But let's face it, Andrew was 8th. He was never going to make it to the throne. Neither is Harry. Neither are the kids. They're never going to make it to the throne. And now that George is 12, about to be 12 or 12, he doesn't fly with William any. They don't fly as a family anymore. They don't, all 5 of them together doesn't fly anymore. 2 go on one, like William will take Charlotte and Louis. Catherine will take George. It doesn't happen. Exactly. No special benefits. Do I want them to work? No, they never will work. Nope. Won't happen. So what's going to happen is they're going to rip the Band-Aid all at once, in my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to do like the other royal family did, and they're going to say, we are now streamlining. You either work for the royal family or you don't. If you don't work for the royal family, which Beatrice and Eugenie do not, which Lily and Archie do not, you do not require a prince or a princess title or an HRH. Very simple. It's not personal. It's business. What's Meghan going to say? It's racial. How is it racial? Beatrice and Eugenie have lost their titles. How is that racial? You don't need people you don't need a United States branch of the royal family. We fought against that. The United States fought against it. So it's done. It's over. Remove them from the children. Remove them from Beatrice and Eugenie. Meghan doesn't have a princess title. She's not a princess. And she only has her duchess title. It's a curse. It's a gratuitous title simply because Harry has the dukedom. If Harry lost his dukedom, she would no longer be a duchess. So her HRH also should be removed since she's using it. She doesn't need an HRH anyway. She's not even really a member of the royal family by blood, therefore she doesn't need it. So, and for those of you who don't know, William was talking about putting the HRH and prince titles in abeyance for Charlotte and Louis until they are 18. And then they can choose if they want the prince or princess title. I think that's very fair. Put it in abeyance for his 2 younger children. Let them choose later and remove it from everybody else. So you don't have all these prince and princesses and HRHs running all over the world. Don't you guys think that's a good thing? I do. The king, yes, they had a 1 year. Remember, Kathy, they had a 1 year probationary period, and during that 1 year probationary period, they got money. And then when the 1 year was up, and everything was stripped from them, Charles, we found out later on, while Harry was sitting on Oprah's couch going, and I was cut off financially. He kind of forgot to mention that his father gave him a few million on the way out the door. He made it sound like they were left with nothing. He had 16 million from his mother. He's gotten even more money than that from the Queen Mother. So, yeah, I think this is not going to take down the royals, guys. The royal family's been around for hundreds or thousands of years. I'm not going to say hundreds of thousands, but for thousands of years, the royal family's been around. The royal family isn't going anywhere. And I think the king needs to act decisively. I don't think that they will take any action until Andrew has been convicted. And that's another thing. Keir Starmer wants to put some new law out to remove Andrew from the line of succession, but you can't do that unless he's convicted. So nothing's coming down the pike right now, but I do believe it's coming down the pike later if Andrew's convicted. Technically, if Harry was not given the Duke of Sussex, Maisie would officially know as Princess Henry. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Charlotte will be the Princess Royal after Anne. Yes. Yep, absolutely the way to do it. I agree. They have to wait to see the outcome. That is true. You have to wait. And for everything going on, Andrew hasn't been convicted of anything. Public opinion is against him, but he hasn't convicted of anything. Unfortunately for him, those emails that have come out now could literally seal his fate. So we'll just have to wait and see what, the news. We'll have to wait and see what's going on. All right, guys. So this is not going to be the longest live stream because my throat is killing me. So you guys make sure you tune in tomorrow because there's a really good video tomorrow. My voice is a little like this, but there's a lot of information in there. You guys are, and you know me, if I say it, I prove it with videos. There's videos in there with video footage and pictures. If I say it, I can prove it, or I don't say it. It's very simple. All right. Don't forget to go to my second channel. There's all kinds of information and stuff on there too. Really cool. And I hope you guys have a fabulous, fabulous day. Take care.